What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over the recent 144 that just came out after hours on Friday, and then over and above that talk on the new SEC transparency rule and why that could really stand to benefit Lucid. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that let's get right to it. So as you can see, there was two forms that was submitted to the SEC after hours Friday, one form 4 and the other 144. In my opinion, I don't think they actually had to submit both because they kind of say one among the same, but ultimately form 4 does show this individual right here. So 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, SVP, product and chief engineer, did sell roughly around 89,000 shares. So transaction code S is a straight up sale, so not for tax purposes, nothing like that. It does show the price, but it has a caveat explanation right here. And so yeah, nothing really crazy. It looks like he did sell out roughly around like 4% of his position, which is kind of a drop in the bucket if you ask me, but something to monitor, right? I know a lot of people over this weekend are probably going to read this and jump to a lot of conclusions, insinuate that this might kind of be the demise of Lucid. That's what typically people do, right? They always say if one of the insiders that normally doesn't sell starts to sell, it's kind of a negative precursor. Just to give you an overview, this is all the transactions for 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧. He's never actually sold for just for straight up sale. Everything else has been for transaction code F, tax purposes. So tax, everything. And I guess one negative of him and just every Lucid employee, which is kind of my pet peeve, is they've never actually bought using their own money. So transaction code P, actually to be fully fair, just to give him a shout out, I think that there was one individual that was transaction code P that he did physically pay using his own money. Actually, no, my apologies, maybe a wrong company I'm thinking of. But still, going back to 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗡𝗧 for a second. So yeah, just transaction code F, he's been awarded 3 different instances, some shares. So yeah, you can jump to conclusions if you want, but I already do see one article coming out saying that Lucid Group SVP 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧 sells 89,000 shares. So once again, you can see that as a positive, negative. They did actually probably time this very strategically. So they submitted it at 7:55 on Friday evening, so meaning that the market is closed at that stage. So maybe they didn't want it to really affect kind of any of the trading, after hours trading. So interesting stuff. Aside from that though, I wanted to go over what shorts did on Friday and just vaguely talk on that new SEC transparency rule. So on Friday, shorts did return about 924,000 shares. 27.89% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 250.25 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts were very, very active today. I did a video I think early part on Friday where I said that they were trying to strategically bring Lucid below that 313, more of a technical breakdown. So shorts been somewhat active. They clearly gave up and returned quite a lot, but when it comes down to shorts returning on a mass scale, I feel like the new SEC transparency rule might be that catalyst that does that. And so it would really benefit Lucid and a lot of other heavily shorted stocks. So I know I've brought that up in passing, the SEC transparency rule. So I just wanted to vaguely talk on that. So as you can kind of see, it was implemented and kind of passed essentially in October 2023. It was supposed to be in just more of a 1-quarter review period. It has been extended, and I believe it will be probably rubber stamped for implementation Q4 2024, if not first half of 2025. But essentially, when it comes to 13Fs, so what I will do is I'll pull up Lucid 13Fs. In case you do not know, this is kind of disclosures to the SEC on their positions. One negative side of these is that if someone is shorting, it's voluntary to disclose your short position. If you have a long position, you have to disclose it. So just saying it out loud, that is very flawed. So for instance, I typically see whenever an entity has very, very little shares, such as Cape Investment, who has 6 shares, I see that as a immediate red flag, and that they're doing this to kind of mask their short position. And oddly, you do see this, like for instance, this entity right here, TD Private Client Wealth, 0 shares. They don't have to disclose anything, but the reason why they're doing it is because probably on the back end they have shorts. So this is a very flawed scenario, but with this new SEC transparency rule, you'll be able to physically see who is shorting every single quarter. So nobody wants to be seen as the bad guy, similar to Citadel, right? Citadel openly has been shorting GameStop, AMC, and probably many other stocks, including even Lucid. But they are very much seen as the villains. No entity such as TD Private Wealth or any other, like for instance Royal Bank, I'm not saying Royal Bank is, but you guys get what I'm saying. Nobody wants to be seen as the bad guy. So what they would do before the whole SEC transparency is implemented, they would rather close out their positions, and that way they don't get seen as in that light. So this is where going into possibly Q4, or like I said, kind of first half of 2025, you might see this drop dramatically from 17 to maybe where it was back in 2021, where it was at like 7%. So it's kind of funny, right? Like Lucid is moving in the right direction operationally, but back in 2021, like they didn't know where their ass was. They didn't know where fucking anything was. So back then, 7% short interest compared to now. How does that logically make sense? It should be the other way around, right? It should have been massively shorted then and not so much now. So this kind of goes to show that obviously whoever is shorting Lucid, we don't really know, is just overextended. So once again, I just wanted to vaguely bring up that whole SEC transparency rule and how that would really stand to benefit Lucid and just a lot of other heavily shorted stocks. So let me know your thoughts. Hopefully everyone has a good weekend ahead of them. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. On a side note, if you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Just launched them with this channel. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.